Good day, everybody. How's everybody doing out there? Nice sunny day out there today. A little chilly, but it's nice. I'm your host for the most, Ultrastand Pheonix, and thank you for joining me on my show and my blog today, The Reality of Things, where the reality is hidden in the realm of the unseen. Press that like button, that subscribe button, and leave a comment if you wish or you dare. I'm in my third day of my 5 day fast. I'm feeling a little good, a little weary, but good. But in saying that, let's dive into this like Greg Louganis. Today we're going to be talking about gangs. And it's not going to be your typical conversation about gangs because I come different and I speak different and I come at a different level. And let's dive into this, like I said. What is a gang? Well, a gang is a group of people forming a union to dominate a specific region or a country, right? Who's allowed in these gangs? Who's allowed to join these gangs? Well, people who agree to abide by the gang's rules, right? That's very clear, very simple. You join a gang or these organizations, you have to follow by their rules and abide by them. And what happens when you want to break the rules of the gang or the organization? Well, usually death comes or occurs, or in some sort of punishment occurs if you try to leave these gangs or these organizations, right? So these are the basics of a gang or these organizations. And when you think of gangs, organizations, you think of gangs like these gangs I'm going to mention right now. But these gangs I'm going to mention right now are nothing. They're not even gangs to me. They're a bunch of lesser subsidiaries of the real gangs that I'm going to mention. The real gangs of this world are your IMF, or as commonly known as your International Monetary Fund. This gang controls the money of the world. Okay, people? They control the money of the world. Oh, sorry, my phone's going off. This gang, the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, controls the countries of the world's economics, as in they loan and dish out money to the world, and when they renege on these agreements with the bank or the International Monetary Fund, they basically, or your country basically goes into debt. A1 credit rating, just like you have credit ratings for your personal self. If you renege on your credit goes down. So does the World's Bank or the IMF or the World Banks. If your country doesn't pay back these debts, your country's ratings goes down, or the AAA rating goes down depending on who you are. For America, you have AAA rating. Britain, France, Canada, your rating goes down to A, and these countries can't afford that to happen, or they go bankrupt, right? So the IMF is a gang. The Bilderberg Group is a gang. Who are the Bilderberg Group? The Bilderberg Group is a group of economists, and not only they're economists, they're people that deal with all facets of economists and financial advisors around the world that come around. They meet in a place called the Bilderberg Building. It was called, actually, they meet in different places, but they were called the Bilderberg Group after the building called Bilderberg. I think it's in Switzerland or Germany, or one of those countries. So it was named after a famous building where they met for the first time in the Bilderberg Building. So the Bilderberg Group goes and they meet to also do what the IMF does, but to secure people underneath their rule, and they set the template for what's going to happen in the future around the world. They're the ones that create your stuff like what you're seeing today, your pandemic. They will basically sit around and make that decision. Or if you ever saw Alex Jones, he had a thing where he went to Bohemian Grove and he exposed them. And these are powerful political leaders, your powerful your powerful what's it called? Your powerful conglomerates who control your consumerism, your CEOs of big tech companies. So these people all meet, okay, and they decide your fate. And that's another gang, the Bilderberg Group. The royal family is another gang, and they've been controlling the world for the last, let's say, 800 to 1,000 years. And people don't know this. They're really called the black mobility. But the royal family that you see sitting in England today, they're really a German royal family. Okay, um, they're what? Forget their last name. They're Kohlberg or forget what they're called, but they're really German in descent. That's why you saw Prince Harry a couple of years ago had that swastika on. He was actually giving reference to his background. Okay, he knows his father was German and they were Nazis, so they had no problem with that, right? So the royal family links up with the Pope, the royal family, and these financial institutes like the IMF, the Bilderberg Group. They run the world, right? But they have their police force also. These groups are not without their police force. They're not there to protect you, okay? And the IMF, the Bilderberg Group, the royal family, and the Pope, they have their own gangs. Like, for instance, the Pope's gang and his police force would be the Jesuits. You do not mess with these people because they have the Jesuits. They go around assassinating people, causing coups to destabilize people's countries, right? And their police force is clearly the CIA. Okay, the CIA pumps drugs. They run drugs. We found that out in the early '80s. Pumping drugs into the inner cities of so-called America, the so-called black people, their black ghettos, support the Sandinistas. There's actually a TV show called Snowfall that shows all of that. How the CIA was involved with running drugs into these neighborhoods to support the Sandinistas in the early '80s, right? To destabilize that country in Honduras, right? And then you have people like I said, also obviously the CIA. You have MI6, which is the equivalent to the CIA, but only in Britain, right? You have also the FBI that was run by gay Edgar Hoover, right? So the FBI is nothing but an agency that spies on the citizens of America. They arrest people unlawfully. Not saying all the time, but the majority of time. So if you're doing something against their will, they shut you down, right? And a lot of organizations work for the FBI and the CIA. Know that. So just because you think that they're independent or we don't work for the CIA or FBI. A lot of these people work for the CIA, FBI. A lot of these so-called organizations are supposed to be legitimate, right? Then you have groups such. Another gang is the WHO, the World Health Organization. They're basically run by China by now. Anybody knows that. Everybody knows that. The World Health Organization is nothing but a gang, okay? They go around, and they're as good as the CDC, Center of Disease Control. They go around dictating to people about their health, what drugs you can buy, what drugs you can't buy, what's a pandemic, what's a plandemic, what isn't, what disease is good, what disease isn't harmful. So it's another gang, okay? The CFR, the Council on Foreign Relations, they're another gang, okay? I could go on with these different gangs. There's so much I that I could have written down, but I didn't. I just want to get to the main ones, right? The Rosicrucians are a gang. Your Republicans and Democrats are a gang, right? Mike Tyson said it best when the blue and the red. Long time ago, they used to fight for who had power, and they'd put their best boxer out there, and one was in the blue corner, one was in the red corner. So you see it translate into the world today. People go either Republican or they're Democrats, right? Then you have, like I said a couple of weeks ago on my other broadcast, the Black Boule. Those are your gatekeepers for so-called black people. So when you see people like Lil Nas X and now you saw Kid Cudi with a dress and Puff Daddy and your LL Cool J's and your 50, they're all gay. That's another gang, okay? The LGBT community is another gang. If you don't agree what they say or join their movement or be super woke and super liberal, they'll cancel you. A cancel culture, right? Well, why do you think they call it cancel? They want to cancel your culture, right? Basically, so you don't have any. All these institutions are gangs, okay? And like I said before, your lesser gangs are your mafias, or what you'd call your La Costa Nostra, your Yakuza from Japan, your triads from China, your biker gangs in Europe, North America, and in Australia. Your Hell's Angels and your Nomads and stuff like that. Your biker machines. Those are lesser gangs. Your Bloods and your Crips. Those are lesser gangs. Your Aryan Brotherhoods. Well, Aryan Brotherhood, they usually run more in the penitentiary, but those are your lesser gangs. Your cartel's a gang, more run in South America and in Mexico. Your Latin kings, again, that are more in America. Your gangster disciples. So these are lesser gangs that people have to deal with. They're your subsidiaries of the gangs that were aforementioned before, okay? So your gangs are your political globalist, your IMFs, your Bilderberg groups, the royal family, the CIA, MI6, the papacy, or which is the Pope, your FBI, the WHO, WHO, your World Health Organization, CFR, Republicans, Democrats, Black Boule, the Rosicrucians. These are all the Jesuits. These are the real gangs of the world. Not your lesser gangs that I was talking about, the mafia, the Bloods. These are such. They're just there to distract you and to get you off the real gangs that I'm talking about today. Okay, so when you see gangs on TV, those are things to distract you from the real gangs of the big political globalist Illuminati gangs. Your international banksters are a gang. Okay, so thank you for taking your time out to listen to me about the real gangs of this world, okay? The ones who are really controlling you. Not these stupid gangs you see on the street running around with damn colors and riding dumb little motorcycle bikes and selling drugs like the cartels, okay? So thank you for taking the time out to listen to me today. I'm your host again, like I said, Ultrastand Pheonix, and thank you for listening to my show, The Reality of Things. Love y'all, and hope you guys have a blessed day. One.